So in class I talked about cutting up frozen pizzas and eating them as part of our family. And so I'm going to shade some things in here. I'm going to shade one out of these two slices of the pizza that we made here. That's 1/2. Here I'm going to shade 2 out of the 4 slices. And these both represent the idea of half of the pizza. It's just when we cut the pizza into smaller pieces, the pieces get smaller, but 2/4 and 1/2 are equivalent, they're equal. The same thing would be true if I shaded in these 3 out of 6. These are also equivalent. But over here, I'm going to shade in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that's more than half of the pizza. This would be 5 out of 8. Okay, and so what we're going to talk about is how do we know when fractions are equivalent and when they're not? These 3 are all equivalent and mean half. This one is more than half. And how would we know? Well, one way is, on our calculators, we can take fractions like 1/2, 2/4, and 3/6, and we can turn them into decimals. So, we can say 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. Or I can say 2 divided by 4 is 0.5. Or 3 divided by 6 is 0.5. This is unlike 5/8. When I divide 5 divided by 8, I get 0.625, something more than half, something more than 50%. So 5/8 is not equivalent to the other 3 fractions. The other thing that we can do is talk about lowest terms. Lowest terms means that the fractions are using the smallest numbers possible to represent the idea of half. This fraction, 1/2, is already in lowest terms. These two fractions are not. So let's show on our calculators how we can reduce to lowest terms. I'm going to press clear. Here, if I hit alpha and y equals, we get the fraction menu. If I press enter, I can type in 2/4, press enter, and it reduces it to 1/2. This is the lowest term version of half. The same is true for 3/6. Again, alpha y equals, type in 3, down arrow, 6, right arrow, enter, and I get 1/2. When you reduce two fractions to the lowest terms, and their lowest terms are the same, you know the two original fractions are equivalent. If I try to reduce 5/8 by typing 5/8, you can see that 5/8 is already in lowest terms and is not the same as 1/2.